Okay, thank you very much and welcome back. Well, I'm sure you had a good time on the newspaper review segment of the show. And now we've got big stories for you at this morning. Well, it's a lengthy one, and we're going to be looking at certain issues that affect you and I every single day. Okay. Um, on the issues that we have this morning, we're going to be asking a lot of fundamental questions, and it means that you will also have the opportunity of joining the conversation. And it means, again, that I would open our phone lines early enough so that we can allow you to call in and get involved big time. And that is what we have for us this morning. We're going political. Credit to the judiciary as the ADC welcomes Supreme Court verdict on party leadership. The Supreme Court has vacated the Court of Appeal ruling, which directed parties in the suit over the leadership crisis rocking the ADC to maintain the status quo ante bellum. In the lead judgment, Justice Mohammed Garba held that the Court of Appeal has no business making a preservative order in respect of a case that was pending before the trial court. Having determined the interlocutory appeal brought before it by David Mark-led leadership against the September 4 decision of the Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court. The Apex Court held that the appeal was filed before it by Senator Mark succeeded in part, even as it dismissed the aspect that challenged an ex parte order of the Federal High Court made for service of processes in the suit filed by aggrieved members of the party. The Apex Court directed them to return to the trial court for the continuation of the hearing of the case. Let's take a listen to this one. And when we come back, we'll allow you to join the conversation. Stay with us.
The order made by the Court of Appeal that status quo ante bellum be restored had been set aside. In other words, the basis upon which INEC acted to remove the name of Senator Mark and his ESCO had been removed by the Supreme Court agreeing that the order of status quo ante bellum made by the Court of Appeal was unwarranted, had no basis to make it, it was unnecessary. But affirm that we should go to raise the question of jurisdiction before the trial court. In other words, the Supreme Court allowed the appeal. The objection to the competence of the appeal was dismissed. The appeal was valid, but they agreed that we ought not to have come to the Court of Appeal for the question to come and show cause. And so we're going back to the Court of Appeal. That's it. The Supreme Court is a court of policy, like you hear their lordship say it. They are all Nigerians. They are aware of what is going on. Democracy must flourish, and it must thrive.
It's a victory for multi-party democracy in Nigeria. We have repeatedly maintained that anything contrary to what the Supreme Court had ruled will have set Nigeria's democracy back by many years. So we are glad we have remained confident in the judiciary. We have repeatedly maintained that we are confident in the judiciary, and we are very proud as Nigerian citizens today that the Supreme Court has not let the judiciary down, has not let Nigeria down, and as Nigerians we are very proud. And this means to us that democracy will survive in Nigeria. Then we can go back and begin to do the hard work of politicians. As we have had the lawyers explain, the full implication is that the basis on which INEC acted by removing the name of David Mark, Rauf Aregbesola, and other executives from its portal have now been removed.
That's it.
So INEC now has an obligation to immediately restore the name of David Mark, Rauf Aregbesola, and other ESCO of the party on his portal and begin to continue to deal with us until the High Court determines the case.
Okay, thank you very much and welcome back. You know, I was just watching the reports and I could see the excitement on the faces of the leaders of the ADC. The lawyer that represented the party and the national publicity secretary of the party, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, addressed the press after the judgment, and you could see how excited they were. I mean, it's a major win for them. It's been a long time coming, different court judgments, but it's still not yet clear because the Supreme Court had also returned them to the high courts for the case to continue. I really hope, and I'm sure you're watching the members, at the lobby of the court are celebrating the judgments. And, but again, the leadership of the party that conducted the congresses are still not clear. So the court says that go back to, the Supreme Court says go back to the High Court and continue this other case. But for now, the leadership of the ADC has been restored, even on the INEC portal, as the likes of David Mark, Rauf Aregbesola, Bolaji Abdullahi, all of them have been returned to the INEC portal as the official escorts of the party. How much of a victory, in quotes, is that for Nigeria's democracy, according to, all of these people? It's been a wild celebration, around social media, even, at different sections of the country yesterday, when that much awaited Supreme Court judgment was given. However, while the ADC were celebrating, the faction in the PDP were having a bad day because the convention that was conducted on the 15th and 16th of November in Abuja had been declared null and void. That means the leadership of Turaki, the faction loyal to the governor of Oyo State, no longer exists according to the Supreme Court. However, the ADC on their part recognizes the effort of the Supreme Court to, in their own wisdom, restore democracy. And the call for the removal of the INEC chairman still continues, according to the leaders of the ADC. Now, what do you make of that judgment? Let me allow you join us, put a call through to us, or text us directly on WhatsApp on 0707 3800 959. Let me take the number again slowly and clearly this time around. It's 0707 3800 959. The judgment has been held by different, members of the ADC, and they are saying it's a good one, it's a win for democracy, it's what we want, it's what we're expecting. What do you make of that particular judgment? Call in, join us, contribute, and send your messages on 0707 3800 959. What do you make of that? The ADC is saying that we've gotten what we want. We'll go back to the high courts to continue the other judgments. But what does this thing? What does it change? What difference does it make as we build up to the 2027 election? You can join us on those numbers so that you can share your thoughts and let us have your take on that particular judgment of the Supreme Court. They have vacated the Court of Appeal ruling and directed in the suit over the leadership crisis rocking the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, and has instructed INEC to maintain status quo, meaning that the leadership of David Mark will be recognized, but the congresses at which that leadership conducted is still being disputed. 0707 3800 959. Okay, we'll also take the second story so that I can join us in between and get the conversation going. Okay, I've been instructed to still wait a bit while we take calls on the major story. So you can join the conversation 0707 380 0959. 0707 380 0959. Okay, calling. Let us have a conversation. Okay, for the PDP, The FCT minister had come out to say, finally, there are no more factions in the PDP. So what that means is that the faction led by Turaki, loyal to the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, no longer exists in the eye of the law. So it means that the recognition of Senator Ayaun as the national secretary of the PDP is valid because his suspension was actually done at the now nullified National Convention in Ibadan. So it's a bit complicated story, but the judgment is very clear. There are no more factions in the PDP. What that means is that whether the leadership of Wike would absorb them or they would also go to other political parties because different times we've seen Turaki hold meeting with the leadership of the opposition and the coalition. We've also seen Seyi Makinde having meetings with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And the whole romance or bromance is quite funny. A bit up to the 2023 election, when the G5 was formed, Wike, Makinde, Otom, Ugwuanyi, and the other governor, 5 of them left the PDP and formed the G5. And Atiku Abubakar was the presidential candidate of the PDP. When he came to Oyo State to campaign, Seyi Makinde did not attend the campaign. Seyi Makinde is a governor serving on the platform of the PDP. Atiku Abubakar is the presidential candidate of the same PDP, but Seyi Makinde did not attend that rally. Now, they are in sync. Politics, they would always say, it's a game of numbers. Let's talk to the callers that we have. They're coming in already. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good to have you join us on the show. Your name and where you're calling from?
I am calling from Anambra State.
Your name?
Sir?
What is your name?
My name is Joel.
Joel from Anambra State. Okay, you want to join the conversation? Okay. 0707 3800 959. What do you make of those two judgments? One for the ADC that is being celebrated everywhere, and the one for the PDP that does not exactly sit well with the PDP, especially in area of where the party leadership stands, because the Turaki-led PDP has said at the moment the PDP does not have leadership because they've also failed to recognize the other faction, which is loyal to the FCT minister. A lot of things actually caught my attention yesterday when I was watching the judgment of the Supreme Court on the ADC. Some of the members of the legal team of the ADC. I saw the former Minister of Sports, Barrister Solomon Dalong, at some point APC governorship aspirant in Plateau State. He was on wig and was part of the legal team. And I also saw the very popular actor, Kenneth Okonkwo. He was also on his wig and part of the legal team of the ADC. Politics in Nigeria is very dynamic. I don't want to say very funny. I want to assume that it's very dynamic because one moment you're seeing people almost thinking they've forgotten their profession and their career politicians, and the next moment you're seeing them, when the needs be, they're coming out and they're representing their political parties. Hello, good morning. Okay, can we really get these things on? If you're calling to join the conversation, would appreciate your call. But if you're calling to test the lines and the numbers, please allow other people to come in so that the lines are not, jamming. 0707 38000959. That is the number to call to join the conversation. 0707 38000959. We wait for call. We'll also wait for the messages, but we'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll go into the second story as federal government announces power sector reforms. How many times have we seen headlines like this? Reforms to the left, reforms to the right. But hey, let's hope that this one will bring a lasting solution to our power challenges in this country. Let's take a break. You're live on MITV Plus Breakfast Express. We're still waiting to pick. Okay, hold it, producer. I have a call to pick. Let's see if you're okay. The calls are coming in and they are dropping. Let's take a break. Let's fix a couple of things, and then the show returns in a few minutes. Stay with us.
No limits.
Welcome to the Africa Magic Viewers' Choice Award.
This isn't a reset.
It's an evolution.
Arsenal at the top of the Premier League table.
We're going to build our paradise here on earth.
Looks up and he makes contact with his old rival.
Moments turn into memories. History into legacy.
Anything can happen.
Thank you very much and welcome back. You're still live with MITV Plus Breakfast Express, and I'm sure you're ready to join the conversation. 0707 959. If you're struggling with the phone lines, because the calls are coming in and they're dropping, so you can also call the same line on WhatsApp, or you drop your messages with us on WhatsApp as well, so that we'll get your feedbacks on the first discussion we've had on the show today. And that is the Supreme Court judgment on the part of the PDP and the other one on the part of the ADC. While the PDP are not celebrating, the ADC rather, are celebrating and embracing the judgment, even though the judgment still sends the coalition back to the High Courts. But I decided it's a major victory for them, and we're hoping that it will be viewed as same. Let's see if you're lucky this time with the phone calls. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Your name and where you calling from? Okay. Still the same problems. If you're trying to call in, you're not joining directly, just drop your messages on WhatsApp if we can get lucky with this one. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. You're live on the show. Your name and where you calling from?
Okay. My name is Tayo from Kogi State.
Tayo, all the way from Kogi State. Good
From
morning.
Kogi State. I congratulate ADC for the judgment. But I need to realize the Wike and the Seyi Makinde. I like the judgment what is happened between Seyi Makinde and Wike. Before that, one is to destroy the PDP in that time, another fashion. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, and God bless you too, all the way from Kogi State. Thank you very much for that call. So when he says that he's happy for Seyi Makinde and Wike, I was just wondering. It's a win-win for Wike because he still has the control of the structure of the PDP. Good morning, Okwe. Good to join you on this platform. The judgment of the Supreme Court on ADC is not huru yet. Of course, we know that. There are still huge mountains in the High Court. As for the PDP, I guess it is over for that party in this forthcoming election. They might not be able to field any candidate due to the time frame. That is Samsonite from Lagos. Thank you very much for your message. Keep the calls coming in. 090 0707 3800 959. 0707 3800 959. In case the calls are not coming in, We can read your messages on WhatsApp and also pick your calls on WhatsApp. What do you make of that judgment? The ADC, the PDP, where does it put our democracy according to what the opposition are saying? Let's go to the other story. And the federal government has announced a power sector reforms, and they've unveiled fresh measures to overhaul the Nigerian power sector, including the appointment of a new special advisor on power and the coalition and the creation of a presidential task force to drive the reforms. Briefing the State House correspondent, the Minister of Information and National Orientation said the decision followed the submission of a committee report on the establishment of a grid asset management company, GAMCO, aimed at improving efficiency in the electricity sector. The minister said the initiative underscores the administration's renewed commitment to fixing the power sector, describing electricity as critical to industrial growth and national economic prosperity. We have a video for that. Let's enjoy it. Then we'll come back. We'll also take your calls on these two issues. New power sector reforms from the government. Does that take us to the next level? Time will tell. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
On the 4th of March, we announced here that the federal government has set up a committee for the establishment and operationalization of the Grid Asset Management Company, GAMCO. That committee was chaired by the Chief of Staff, and it had as its members the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, the Minister of Works, the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, the Honorable Minister of Petroleum Resources, Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Gas. Now, that committee undertook a very comprehensive review of the commercial, investment, and institutional framework underpinning GAMCO. Now, based on that, a report was now submitted to Council today. And arising from that report, I'm happy to announce that Council today took very far-reaching decisions. Number one is that Mr. President has approved the appointment of Mr. Lanre Babalola as a special advisor on power. Mr. Lanre Babalola, special advisor on power. Mr. Lanre Babalola, of course, was a former Minister of Power during the Eradua regime. The second one is that arising from the report that was submitted to Council today by the Chief of Staff who chaired that committee, Council again has taken another far-reaching decision by constituting a task force on power sector reform. All of us know that power issue is a major issue in this country, and Mr. President, consistent with his vision of ensuring that there will be economic prosperity for Nigeria, has decided that a renewed attention be put in the power sector. Therefore, this power sector has a new task force. It's called Task Force on Power Sector Reform. Mr. President himself will be the chairman of that committee. And the newly appointed special advisor on power, Mr. Lanre Babalola, will sit in from time to time for Mr. President. There are other members of the committee. One is the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, the Honorable Minister of State Gas, Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, the Chairman of NEC, Nigerian Electricity Commission, is also a member. There is also one member representing the GENCO, the Generating Companies of Nigeria, and then another member representing DISCO. It is a 9-member committee. If you add Mr. President there will be 10. Of course, there may be addition as deemed fit by Mr. President. The goal here is to ensure that there's a total overhaul of the power sector, without which real progress cannot be made in terms of industrialization, which will ultimately lead to economic prosperity of Nigeria. I thought that I should put that in and then leave the floor open for a few questions. I know that you're in a hurry to file in your report. It's already getting late for that, but a few questions will be taken. Please keep your questions as brief as possible and let it focus on the deliberations and the outcome of the Federal Executive Council meeting.
Okay, thank you very much and welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us on MITV Plus Breakfast Express. And of course, that was the Minister of Information and National Orientation addressing the press after the announcement of a major policy by the federal government of Nigeria. And he's saying that the policy is expected to bring new reforms in the Nigerian power sector after the creation of appointment of a new special advisor on power and the creation of a presidential task force to drive reforms within the power sector. The Minister of Information and National Orientation also said the decisions followed the submission of a committee report on the establishment of a grid assets management company, GAMCO, aimed at improving efficiency in the electricity sector. And does that make any difference? Does that bring any change? Does that, help us to at least find some balance within the power sector? If there's one particular sector in this country that had gotten so much attention from the government, from the privatization under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, to the allocation of the discos, the distribution companies, the gencos, the generation companies, the tancos, the transmission companies. It's just been a whole lot. And it's almost like we cannot see anything logical in these huge billions of dollars that have been invested in the power sector. Is it really that we need more infrastructures? Do we need to overhaul the sector? Do we need more holistic private sector involvement? How do we attract investors when some of the, the infrastructures we have on ground are old, really old? It's a lot of problems. So if you say you want to develop an economy as fragile as Nigeria, the first thing you should prioritize is to fix the power sector. And that's a confirmation of where we are as a nation. If at this point we're still talking of power generation, we're still talking of supplies of electricity, I've seen a lot of businesses fold up in the last years. Businesses that should employ 5 and 10s, small businesses that stimulate the economy like this, they're folding up. A friend of mine that runs an hospitality business on the island a couple of months back, came over to the house and we're talking, and I was like, how are you balancing up? And you know what he told me? He told me that twice in the last 1 year, he's had to do salary cuts because he doesn't want to sack people. So his staff agreed that everybody would take salary cuts to accommodate the other people. He said he did it the first time. He felt uncomfortable. He returned all the salaries to what it used to be because he felt like, listen, if I'm taking this away from your salary because I don't want to sack other people, even the one I'm paying you it's not even enough. Because in this country, there's no amount they want to pay you that will ever be enough. And that's a fact, because every single day, price of commodities in the market are skyrocketing. Basic amenities are becoming a luxury for many Nigerians, and that is really disturbing. So he said what he does is that he's making money on his business, but he keeps returning the money into buying diesel. That at times in a month, he spent almost 4 million on diesel. And I'm like, how do you run a business like that? And hospitality business in Nigeria is power intense. You need a lot of electricity, you need a lot of power. So if you're on band A and you're running a lounge or an hotel in this country, it's a whole lot. Hospitals, the same thing. Public infrastructures, public facilities, schools, manufacturing companies, media houses, everybody is depending so much on electricity to survive. Then the immediate past Minister of Power, in his wisdom, decided to come in and introduce classism in a liberal society that boldly practices democracy. So he says that if you're on band A, you get 20 hours electricity. If you're on band B, you get about 16 hours. If you're on band C, you get 10. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you for a fact that a lot of people on band A are badly complaining because they're not even getting the supplies, despite the fact that they pay almost through their noses. Businesses, I know, we have a conversation with a lot of people and they ask you that, listen, I'm done. I'm not running business anymore. And you know what that means? The moment businesses fold up, you are returning a lot of people into the labor markets, people that are just managing their lives, surviving on a token that is not even up to the general minimum wage. When the business folds up, those people, even the token you are getting, it's just like some our core members that I had a conversation with a couple of years back. They were complaining that, the Alawi was too small, 19.8 was too small, this and that. Then the 19.8 stopped when they finished NYSC. So we're chatting on the WhatsApp group one, and I said, so the 19.8 you said was too small. If you get it now, would you appreciate it? They say, yes, so we'll appreciate it. I said, okay. That means the 19.8 was still coming in constantly. So that's the fact. When you have businesses and people are still managing the little token they have to keep body and soul together, and then power is grinding down those businesses, it doesn't look good. So if the federal government is saying that they've set up a presidential committee, now there's a special advisor on power and creation of a special task force, I hope all of these things would give us a logical destination in our power situation in this country. So we've got two issues on the table, and I'm inviting you to join the conversation. 0707 3800 959. We've got a couple of okay. I was still waiting for your calls, by the way. 0707 3800 959. In case you're trying to call us and numbers are not connecting, you can drop your messages on WhatsApp. We are going to read your messages from there. If there's any of the issues that we've raised on the show today that you want to comment on, join us 0707 388 959. You're on Breakfast Express. It's MITV Plus, and the first edition of the show for the week. For the month, the last for the week and the first for the month. So today is 1st of May, and once again, we're celebrating our hard-working, committed workers globally, and specifically in Nigeria. We're saying Happy New Month to everyone. Happy Workers' Day to all of you. I know the times are tough. Surviving is chaotic, especially when you see people that have got families, they've got responsibility, they've got bills to pay, and then you're surviving on your minimum wage that can barely even buy you a bag of rice. It's tough. And sometimes I worry about where the NLC as a body is. The early days or the early 2000s, during the first term of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, there was a Nigerian Labour Congress that was a proper Nigerian Labour Congress. And so hear me out. When I say proper Nigerian Labour Congress, I'm talking about a Labour Congress that is united, a Labour Congress that if the Nigerian Medical Association is going on strike, everybody is going on strike. If the Nigerian Union of Teachers are going on strike, everybody is going on strike. If Pengasan was going on strike, everybody was going on strike. And that was under the leadership of now Senator Adams Aliyu Oshiomhole. It was always chaotic. It's a nationwide lockdown. And before you know what's happening, President Olusegun Obasanjo is calling for a meeting and there's a resolution. But the decentralization of the NLC kind of broke the strength of the labor union. So now the NMA is going on strike. It's none of the business of the NUT. The SANU or NASU is going on strike. ASU is going on strike. It's none of the business of the other affiliate members. I think that broke the strength of the NLC. I understand the decentralization though, and how they've broken the functional strength of the NLC. And because what they usually say is that an injury to one is an injury to us. So that was what was driving the collective resolve of the NLC to stand by every affiliate member. But the moment it was decentralized, it kind of broke the resolve. So we have, as affiliates, unions doing their thing while the other ones are doing their thing. I remember there was a very lengthy ASU strike under the administration of now late President Muhammadu, but I think it was for 9 months. And I think it was only once or twice that the NLC had a solidarity strike with solidarity protest with ASU, while ASU was at home for 9 months. I think, and that kind of took the gloss off the operation of the Nigerian Labour Congress. So we have labor leaders now openly flexing political affiliation. Rumors of some labor leaders wanting to contest for political offices or loyal to certain political parties or loyal to certain forces within the political space. And that is really making it difficult for the Nigerian Labour Congress to press, in quotes, the neck of the government. And that's a street slang, by the way. Say, press their neck. Demand for what you deserve from the government. It's tough. These days, you barely see statements being released to the press from the Nigerian Labour Congress leadership or the Trade Union Congress leadership. Everybody's just on their own. Everybody's, trying to position. Nobody's saying they shouldn't get involved in politics, but you should never sacrifice the trust of the Nigerian workforce on you as the leaders on the altar of your own personal interests and selfish gains. If the labor leaders want to be labor leaders, be labor leaders. Don't be political labor leaders. They're two different things. If you're a labor leader, you stand the government, you demand for the welfare of your people, you prioritize the concerns of the health and the safety of the Nigerian workforce, and you don't mix it with political patronage or political lobbying. So that is what you're supposed to do as the leader of the Nigerian Labour Congress or the leadership of the TUC. But when you now start hobnobbing with politicians, they are seeing you in political rallies, they are seeing your body language, you're tilting towards one political party, it makes it difficult. And because I have a lot of friends that work in the civil service, and they'll tell you that, we don't even know where we are going to next. It's tough, it's disturbing. And today, while the entire world is celebrating the International Workers' Day, and of course, it's a Workers' Day in Nigeria as well, there's not so much to celebrate. If you go to, usually there used to be stadiums, the governors would come, even at the Eagle Square in Abuja, mostly the Minister of Labor is always the one addressing the people. If you go there now, there's nothing exciting anymore. Everyone is just tired, are just moving around, trying to see how they can survive. There's no motivation, there's no excitement, there's nothing really building that energy. Okay, so we're celebrating the International Workers' Day again, but if you see what we have, it is a little bit of a lot. Okay, there's a little twist, and my producer I just pushed it to me right now, and is a developing story from South Africa. The past few months have not really been good in terms of the xenophobic attack on non-South Africans, especially Nigerians, Ghanaians, Sudanese. There's been under attacks. I think earlier in the week or late last week, there were reports of Nigerian businesses getting burnt, and 2 Nigerians also killed in South Africa. Even the president of Ghana have had to release a statement saying that you have to respect foreigners in your country, especially those ones in your country doing legitimate business, and that is it. Young South African xenophobic men have been fully armed. They fully armed themselves with Stone Age barbaric weapons in huge numbers to go hunt down African immigrants to expel them from South Africa. There's a video, and you can go on our Facebook page, MITV Plus on Facebook. You see the video there, and some very, very interesting comments right there. A young, angry, xenophobic men have been fully armed with Stone Age barbaric weapons in huge numbers to shut down South African immigrants and expel them from their country. But let's pick a call. Let's hear what this caller have to say to us. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please put down the volume on your radio set, or you turn it off completely, or your TV set rather.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here with you.
Okay, your name and where you calling from?
I'm Christian Aku from Ogun State.
From Ogun State. You're welcome, Mr. Christian.
Yeah. Sir, I love your conversation. You are hitting the iron at the right place. In respect of labor leaders. Labours are not doing their work. Labours are now a politicians. Labours are now not after the workers. They are hitting the iron at the right place. I love you, sir. Thank you. God bless you. Continue speaking the truth. What I said is really the truth, sir. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian, and God bless you too. I mean, that's why we're here every day, to speak truths to the right places, and that's a fact. The time where the Labour Congress had is respect and trust. If the Labour says they are going on strike, everybody complies. But in the past few years, we've seen Labour call on strike, and on the eve of the strike, they'll tell you that, the strike has been suspended. I remember there was a time I had a conversation with one of the Zona Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, and they released a statement and say, tomorrow morning there'll be Labour, we're not going back, the government is not responding, and the next morning we got to the venue of the protests, and then everywhere was quiet. We called him, his number was switched off. Much later in the night, and then when we reached out to him, he said, they were in a meeting, and I'm like, okay. We understand the place of compromise. We understand the place of negotiation. We understand the place of, bending the rules and accommodating what the government is placing on the table. Usually, when the labor is negotiating, if you put in 10 items, you may probably not get everything. But be sure enough that those items are prioritized based on the urgent needs and expectations of your workers. They are the reason why you're parading yourself as the national leader of the Nigerian Labour Congress. You're the reason; those workers are the reason why you're being referred to as, the Trade Union Congress chairman, president rather. We're begging you that the welfare of the Nigerian laborers or Nigerian workforce, the Nigerian workers, should be prioritized. Drop your political ambitions. If you want to go into politics as labor leaders, drop your leadership role on the NLC and focus on politics. Let the people that are intentional about the welfare of the workers get up on the saddle and let them drive it. I know those days of protest under former president, former national chairman of the NLC, and now Senator Adams Oshiomhole. It's always a lockdown. The president of Obasanjo is always running helter-skelter, bringing the minister of labor. Everybody should negotiate, and let's get the economy going, because the leadership of the NLC then, once they are protesting, the economy is shut down from Lagos to Jigawa, from Plateau to Gombe, from Ekiti to Ebonyi. Everyone is complying. But these days, it's a struggle for self-survival, struggle for self-enrichment, struggle for self-actualization. That is what the labor leaders are using the NLC and the platform to achieve right now. Like I said, nobody's saying you should not have ambitions, but first off, don't mix labor union with politics at the mainstream. If you want to get involved in politics at the mainstream, drop your responsibilities at the labor, so that people that are intentional about fixing the welfare of the people will get up on that responsibility and focus on it. You cannot be eating your cake and still be having it. Have a beautiful Friday morning. Happy new month once again. and Happy Workers' Day. Once again, it's a combination of a whole lot, but more than anything else, we hope that this country will find its balance very soon. At the start of the show, I talked to you about a report that I watched. I was talking to us about where China was 30 years ago, where Nigeria is today, where Singapore was 30 years ago, where Nigeria is today, are some of the countries that were on the same level in terms of a developing nation, where they were 30 years ago and where we are today. And what struck me the most in that conversation is this. Any country that is still struggling with power, development is going to be tough. So we hope we get it right one day. My name is Opeyemi Akide. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's at MITV Plus. On Instagram, it is at MITV Plus _NG. On TikTok and X, the same handle at MITV Plus _NG. You can also watch us on YouTube. We're live at MITV Plus _NG. And don't forget to please click the like and subscribe buttons so that you can get updated with our breaking news, breaking stories, and our other programs. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I hope to have my co-host back on Monday, fresh, strong, and ready to fire on. Have a beautiful weekend for yourself. And don't forget, MITV Plus is your #1 TV dial. Don't ever think of changing it. Bye for now.